It's one of the most sycophantic articles I've ever seen for the system. It's by Ben Shapiro. One thing, though, that he has in here that's correct, he says the charges. First of all, it's vital to note that nobody knows exactly what the charges filed with the grand jury were against the police officer. According to ABC News, the charges could have included second-degree manslaughter, criminally negligent homicide, felony assault, reckless endangerment. Yeah, you know what? We don't even know what they were coming at for charges. That's the point. Whenever I've contacted district attorneys to try to get information on cases, I've been told by district attorneys, this is a grand jury situation. Those records are sealed. We're not going to put them out. What the guy did in Ferguson, the prosecutor in Ferguson did, is very, very unusual to make that public. And, of course, he did it as a document dump, thousands of pages, and people are starting to go through that, and there's a crowdsourcing investigation to see what happened. And we, in retrospect, look at that and we find some very amazing things that have come out. Things like the fact that the police show up and they don't bother to record any of his initial statements. The officer who was supposed to be doing that said, yeah, you know, my recorder was out of batteries. I didn't have a pen that wrote. And, you know, I just can't remember because there was just so many important things going on. It wasn't important to take the statement of the police officer. And, of course, they talk about how whenever they show up on a crime, their assumption is that a police officer has been attacked and is the victim. That's their assumption. When they go to a grand jury, that is still the same assumption, that the police officer is the one who's innocent. That's why you don't see indictments. Let me tell you, grand juries, the last year they took statistics in 2010. They had 162,000 grand jury cases. You know how many did not return an indictment? 11. 11. That means when you go before a grand jury, you've got about a 99.9999% chance of getting indicted if they take you before a grand jury, because they control, the prosecutor controls the entire process. If they don't indict you, it's because they don't want to indict you. When you look at the Darren Wilson thing, any defense attorney that isn't absolutely convinced that the police are on his side is not going to let his client testify at all at a grand jury situation. He can't even be present. The defense attorney can't even be present. He can't object to anything that the prosecutor is saying to his client, and everything is going to be on the record. You talk about waiving your Miranda rights. Yet Darren Wilson was allowed to go into this grand jury and talk for over 4 hours because he wasn't the one on trial. It was Michael Brown who was the one on trial, and that's the way they look at this. So we're going to talk a little bit about that, about people's reactions to it. We're also going to have Joe Biggs joining us in the next segment. He's going to join us in the segment before the bottom of the hour because one of the stories that's come up is the story about Michael Hastings has resurfaced again. We see some emails within the FBI that have been released because of a FOIA request, and we see that they're talking about how they can put down these conspiracy theories surrounding the death of Michael Hastings. And, of course, that's how Joe Biggs essentially got hooked up with InfoWars initially, and as part of that investigation, because he didn't want to take the mainstream media's lies on that. He was very angry about what had happened. He didn't believe it. We didn't believe it. We interviewed him. He made some public comments on some other shows. And, you know, Joe wants to get to the bottom of things. He wants to get to the truth, and he isn't going to take some improbable, impossible explanations for stuff, and neither are we. That's why Joe is here. That's why we're here. So he's going to talk to us for the 5-minute segment before the bottom of the break. We're going to take your calls. We're going to get your opinion. I want to know what you think about these situations in New York and in Ferguson. And, of course, we've got a lot of other stories that are coming out. Before we get to the serious news, though, there's a story that was on Drudge, a couple of stories. One about the 100 missing brains in Texas. We have at the University of Texas, they had 100 brains go missing. And we've done Man on the Streets there, and I was just surprised that it was only 100 brains that are missing, because whenever I've gone down there to do Man on the Streets, it seems like there's a lot of missing brains. But these are brains that were actually stored in bottles, and they've now found, they believe that they were destroyed about a decade ago. Interesting, another article that was on Drudge. Mice implanted with human brain cells become smarter. It's just like... this would be funny if it wasn't so dangerous. They're creating chimeras. They're putting human cells in the mice of brains. And no, this isn't Pinky and the Brain. You know, are you thinking what I'm thinking? If you're thinking that this is a way to unleash really dangerous chimeras with this kind of genetic experiments? That's what I'm thinking. I'm going to be right back. We're taking your calls, and Joe Biggs is going to join us to talk about Michael Hastings. We'll be right back.
This holiday season, give the gift that keeps on giving, an in-home freeze dryer from Harvest Right. With your very own freeze dryer, you'll be able to freeze dry the food your family loves. Because we live in uncertain, difficult times, what better way to show your love for your family than to buy them a gift that helps them preserve food they can use now or in 25 years. Go to harvestright.com and find out how you can get your in-home freeze dryer. Layaway is available. That's harvestright.com.
Managing your business and customers isn't easy, huh? SnapForce customer relationship software may be just what you need. SnapForce CRM is a software solution that helps you manage everything important about your customers, from sales to marketing to service and support. All of your customer information is right there at your fingertips for easy access. It's time to take control of your business in a snap. Get your free trial at snapforce.com. That's SNAPFORCE.com. Snapforce.com.
I love a dark house. Inside is all the stuff you work so hard for, and I'm gonna rob you blind.
Don't be the next victim of a break-in. Go to faketv.com and discover a device that creates the illusion someone is inside watching TV and makes your home unappealing to would-be thieves.
Don't these people ever leave?
Starting at $24.95, and there's free shipping. Go to faketv.com or ask for it at your local hardware store. Fake TV, the burglar deterrent.
Hey, Boomer! I learned in school today that 60% of our bodies are made of water. Good thing we have the Berkey system. It's the cleanest, best water ever. Mom says it's because the Berkey's filtration system cleans out the bad stuff and leaves only pure, delicious water. I know, right? You love it too. Yeah, I'm thirsty too. Let's go get some. Get Berkey clean water by calling 877-886-3653. That's 877-886-3653. Or visit goberkey.com.
We've had an amazing year here at Supernatural Silver. We've truly enjoyed the fantastic response from thousands of people as they've tried our extraordinary product, and we're thrilled at the life-changing results people have. Our company email is continually full of happy, satisfied customers who thank us for the help they've received from Supernatural Silver. This holiday season, as you think of gifts to give your loved ones, consider giving Supernatural Silver, a gift that can help provide good health and wellness, a gift that can change lives and make a real difference. In a world where we are constantly exposed to dangerous health threats, give yourself and your loved ones a fighting chance. Give Supernatural Silver. Go to supernaturalsilver.com and use the promo code HOLIDAY2014 for 30% off. And this holiday season, we wish you and yours the blessings of peace and good health from all of us here at supernaturalsilver.com. We all have our own idea about what being safe and secure means. The door's locked, bills are paid, you've got a job that keeps the lights on, and a home to call your own. But what happens when Mother Nature throws a curveball?
I'm telling you, there's tape cover.
Are you prepared to live without electricity or passable roads for weeks at a time? Do you even have a plan B? If you do, are you willing to bet your life on it?
Children left with no homes.
And no one's coming to help them.
The first step towards self-reliance in the face of disaster is a visit to MyPatriotSupply.com. There you'll find the absolute best prices on storable foods, non-GMO seeds, emergency water filtration devices, and so much more. All orders over $49 qualify for free shipping in the lower 48 states. Call 866-229-0927. That's 866-229-0927 and speak to one of our preparedness advisors today, or visit us at MyPatriotSupply.com. Remember, before it's time to survive, it's time to prepare.
Day after day, alone on a hill, the man with the foolish grin is keeping perfectly still, but nobody wants to know him.
Welcome back to the Alex Jones Show. I'm David Knight, your host today, and with me in studio is Joe Biggs, our reporter who joined us, really got in touch with us because of the Michael Hastings investigation. We were looking at this. Now we've got a story saying that the emails that were released as part of a FOIA request showed the FBI was working to debunk, quote, conspiracy theories. Now, of course, the entire the term conspiracy theory is something that was created by the FBI to shut down investigations and questions about the official story about the JFK assassination. And we had some real questions about this Michael Hastings death from the get-go. As we were just talking about, I immediately knew when I looked at this and saw the pictures of the engine down the road at a right angle to where the car had crashed into the tree, I knew that that didn't happen from it crashing in the tree. When you crash a car into a tree, the engine is not going to be ejected 150 feet or 200 feet or whatever down the road. It's going to be captured into the car. And you could also see that the fire was contained to the front of the car. It did not involve the rear of the car. And I did a lot of research about car accidents after that, specifically because of that, because it's something of a urban legend that Hollywood has. When you drive a car off a cliff, it immediately explodes. That doesn't happen unless it's a rear-end collision and the gas tank is ruptured. And that gas tank, the rear end of that car was still in effect.
Well, even then, though, I mean, I've actually shot a car, you know, being in combat, and shot gas tanks before and watched them explode. It blows up. And the fire isn't even that bad. It takes hours to get to the point where what happened in the Hastings crash. Now, you got to think, he's traveling down, you know, his direction of path. So there's a few things that happen. He's traveling, then you see a flash of light, then you see the lights in the vehicle go out. So that's where there's that explosion.
Yes.
Then you see the flash. So at that point, that's where the engine's ejected.
Exactly. And that's what came out. Eventually, we saw that. But I'm saying on the very first night, when you see that engine down there, it's like, something is wrong.
Exactly.
Okay. And we knew that he had made a lot of enemies in Afghanistan when you were talking to him, and with McChrystal, who's you know, the guy in the general in charge there. So we knew he had a lot of powerful enemies.
He was almost kicked off of Air Force One as well when he was doing the Panic 2012 book about the Obama campaign. So
he had a lot of enemies in high places, and this happens. And then we learned that WikiLeaks said that he was being investigated. And so it's just one thing after the other. As you start to look at it, it all starts to unravel. The physical evidence, then the video that surfaces, then the emails that surface. But talk about, we were just before we came back on, and just before while we had the break, you were talking about the unusual aspects of this FOIA request and the investigation.
So when you submit a FOIA request, there's a few things that happen. For this one, the original FOIA requests were based off of the media chatter. Hey, you know, because of the email that I had released and all that, was he being investigated by the FBI? And maybe that's the reason why he was leaving at such high speeds in the middle of the night or early morning, however you want to look at it. And when you submit a FOIA request like that, they're supposed to come back with a confirm or deny as to whether or not they're investigating that individual. Well, this didn't happen in this case for some reason. They flat out said, no, they were not looking into Michael Hastings. So that in itself is very unusual. That's something that doesn't happen. It's like I said, it's a confirm or deny. So like I said, they flat out said, no, we're not. But then a year later, they came out and said, well, actually, we were looking at Michael Hastings for what they called controversial reporting in his Rolling Stone article about the Bo Bergdahl, the last American prisoner of war. So, you know, it just goes to show you that they were so quick to say, no, we have nothing to do with this. And now they're trying to scramble around, apparently, and debunk these conspiracy theories. Well, they always catch them in a flat-out lie.
We always look at this. We're not conspiracy theorists. We are skeptics who investigate the official story, or any story that people have. And we ought to come to these things with a healthy dose of skepticism. That's really the only kind of objectivity that you can really have. If you're investigating a murder as a police detective, you don't want to come in and say, well, I was told by his wife that such and such happened, so I'm not going to investigate her.
That's what they used to
She's
do.
above investigation, yeah. So, I mean, we look at this, we immediately see there's something wrong with it. Then we see things start to surface. The fact that WikiLeaks says that he had contacted them. We hear testimony that he was concerned that he was being followed. He is looking under his car for bombs, his landlady said. We see a lot of things like this start to surface. The fact that he sent out communications to the people that he worked with and said, I'm going to be gone for quite some time. I mean, it was really, really... I
mean, I had a deep gut feeling that something was up. You know, and they come out and they're like, DMT, DMT, this is what it is. Drug results show that there's DMT in the system.
Yeah.
Okay, look, That has nothing to do with an engine shooting out of a vehicle.
Absolutely. It was phony. Thank you so much, Joe. We're going to be right back with your calls. 800-259-9231. Thanks, Joe.
We're on